Here at Syracuse University, and you could tell me if this is a true statement or not, but I'm sure you're going to be directing all of the Greeks, black, white, all of the ones that have houses down there on Walnut and some up on Comstock. There are no houses for the Black Greek letter organizations.
Right.
None of them have a house. History goes back. Maybe the Omegas had a house for a little while, but I think it was off the path and wasn't a university. Is that different for you? Did you seeing the Greeks in the South? Did they all have those kind of houses?
It depends on,
and does that change the quality of their Greek life?
Oh, absolutely not. We didn't have a house.
Okay.
And I'm from a predominantly white institution. I will say this. There are very few institutions in the South that have houses. And generally, how that works is the institution will have what you call small group housing that these students pay a fee to stay in and so forth and so on. The difference between my institution and SU is that our cultural groups had what we call chapter rooms. So there were designated space on campus for these groups to have their meetings and so forth and so on. And so what I found that was relatively important to my groups is not them living in a common space, but them having space on campus that they could call their own.
Okay. What would you say is the state of Black Greek organizations just as a whole, and that whole in the life and and their place on campuses around the country?
I think they're very relevant. I think that if we stick to the principles of our founding fathers or founding mothers, we'll be in a good place. Nationally, we are in a membership deficit. In my opinion, the problem is not getting members; it's keeping them. Because I can say even the men that initiated me are not active today. And so that poses a problem nationally to operate. That we need these functioning bodies to be active and to believe in the cause, if you will.
The sororities seem to be doing well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. But again, nationally, all of us are in a deficit, all 9.
Do you have a vision for how you would like to see Greek life turn out, 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line here at SU?
It's funny. Ever since the interview, even my first day on campus, all the students have been giving me the reaction of, well, what are you going to change? And, and fraternities and sororities are the world's worst when it comes to change and what we think change is. Right now, my perspective is what the students need. When I meet with students, when I talk to students, it's my responsibility, 1, to be their advocate, but 2, to find out what they need, and I would say within a 2-week time frame, I haven't been able to assess what the students need. I've met with some students and I've engaged some students. I've had long conversations with students, but it's really been formalities. We're glad you're here. It's really from the cultural groups, but, expansive as far as the community goes. I want to see it healthy. I want to see it grow. I want to see it flourish.
There's plenty of alumni who have graduated over the years, certainly from the early 90s, to now, who hope to come back to SU to visit and hope that their organization is here.
Absolutely.
And still going on. And there's still some activity, for them to be found.
And that's important. I
hope to go. Very important.
Yeah, I hope to go to JSU and, Ada Muse on JSU's campus,
You're with Kappa Alpha Psi?
Yes.
We're going to see Kappas back on campus?
Hopefully, in the near future. I have said, though, I'm not looking at expansion until fall of 2009, simply because I want to allow myself to get acclimated. I want to allow myself to implement policies and procedures that the community would be more receptive, 1, to receiving a new group, and we'd be able to support them.
You want me to ask you the old school, new school question?
That's you.
Is that still an issue amongst Greeks? You know, generally, at least I think I hear that every now and then. You know, whether they're able to deal with intake during old school or new school or whatever changes have gone on since that time. That doesn't ring a bell?
No.
Okay.
Well, I've heard the question before, but I think the policies are there. I think, our national board of directors and, our grand councils and, our principals of our organizations wouldn't have implemented these policies, if they thought that they would prove to be fatal to the group. I think if anything, they're trying to help the group grow,
Okay, we've been talking with Eddie Banks-Crosson. He is the new director of fraternity and sorority affairs at SU. And welcome to Syracuse again.
Thank you.
And if any alumni want to get in touch with you, how can they reach you?
The Office of Student Life, 315-443-2718.